What's going on, Dolphins? It is your boy Dillon, and I'm here to do one of my quick hit scouting report videos. I'm actually going to be doing another video right after this. Today is Wednesday, so I will be also doing my what does it take to get to the playoffs / draft order update. So I'll be doing that right after I'm done with this video. But for now, this is for the New England Patriots and the Tennessee Titans. Tennessee went up to New England to play them. And as you will see, they had a rough day at the office. Both teams are now 8-4 on the season. Patriots won by a margin of 36-13. And let's go through this. So overall, the Titans had 355 total yards. New England had 394. Tennessee only had 85 passing yards, and the Patriots had 289. They did have 270 yards on the ground, though, as you can see, allowing 105 to the Patriots. Tennessee had 5.7 yards per play. New England had 6.8. Tennessee lost 3 fumbles, so obviously that doesn't help. They also threw 1 interception, and New England didn't turn the ball over at all. Let's see, both teams allowed 2 sacks. Tennessee was 45% on third downs. New England was 40%. Tennessee had the ball for 31 minutes and 2 seconds. New England had it for 28-58. Tennessee with 5 penalties. New England 4. Okay, now let's take a look at the Patriots side of things. Mac Jones was 23 of 32 for 310 yards and 2 touchdowns. Rushing, Ramondre Stevenson led the way, 9 rushes, 46 yards, and a 5-1. Damian Harris, 11 for 40, a touchdown, and a 3-6. Mac Jones threw in 2 rushes for 11 yards and a 5-5. In the receiving game, Jacoby Myers led the way, 5 of 8 for 98. Kendrick Bourne, 5 of 6, 61, and 2 scores. Brandon Bolden, 4 of 4 for 54. Jonnu Smith, 3 of 4 for 49. Nelson Aguilar, 3 of 3 for 20. Hunter Henry, 2 of 5 for 16. And Damian Harris, 1 for 12. Now, look, the Patriots, yes, I know we beat them. We barely beat them in week 1. But they definitely are the hardest team remaining on the schedule. And even if the Dolphins find a way to win against the Giants, the Jets, the Saints, and then the Titans, if they win their next 4 games, I still think that this game is going to be, if they don't lose one before this game against the Patriots, I'm pretty sure it's going to be the one. But there could be some excitement. We'll talk about it in the next video a little bit more, that there is some possibility that we get to this game and it be the game that is, playing for the playoffs. So it'll be interesting, but unfortunately, even though, by both of my predictions, my original prediction prior to training camp and my revised prediction right before the start of the season, I actually had this as a win, although, as you know, I had the first game of the season as a loss, and I had a splitting with the Patriots. I still actually think that's going to remain the case. I think we're going to end up splitting with the Patriots, and I think they're going to take this game. I'd like to be wrong, though. Of course, I'd love to see, a miraculous turnaround. Somehow the Dolphins find a way to win out, go 10-7, and make it to the playoffs, but I'm not exactly counting on that as, an expected thing. Like, a lot of Dolphins fans think it's just going to happen at this point, and I'm not there yet. So, let's get to that point. Let's get to 9-7, be playing the Patriots in Week 18 at home for a chance to get into the playoffs, and then we'll be talking. Anyway, Ryan Tannehill was 11 for 21, 93 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. Dontrell Hilliard led the way in rushing with 12 rushes, 131 yards, a touchdown, and a 10.9 average. Deontay Foreman, 19 rushes, 109 yards, and 5.7 average. They had 2 guys go over 100 yards. Obviously, 3 fumbles and an interception were probably, were the biggest factor in this game. You can't, lose that many turnovers, give that many turnovers and win games very often. But Ryan Tannehill added 5 for 24 and a 4.8. The problem with one of the biggest problems, though, with the Tennessee Titans right now is they are pretty banged up, especially on offense. Julio Jones, A.J. Brown, they're both out. Obviously, Derrick Henry's out, probably at least until the playoffs. They've had offensive line, including Taylor Lewan, who have been getting injured. So they have been suffering some injuries as of late. Although fortunately for the Dolphins, we happen to be hitting some of these teams like the Jets when we played them a couple weeks ago. They were pretty injured, and then they lose Michael Carter in the game. Last week we were playing the Panthers, who lost Christian McCaffrey in the game, and thereby was eliminated as a potential threat. And the Titans right now are pretty banged up too. So, there could be some room for opportunity there, and it certainly makes them vulnerable. Nick Westbrook-Akine did lead the way in receiving, although obviously there wasn't much to be had in that department. 2 of 6 for 25 and a touchdown. Cody Hollister, 2 of 4 for 22. Des Fitzpatrick, 1 for 14. And Michael Pruitt, 1 of 2 for 10. Yeah, man. And so, like I said, I'm not quite ready to say that this is going to be a win, but certainly with, them having all of these key injuries, again, they are, in a state of vulnerability. I still think that ultimately they're going to end up, because they still have to play the Texans again. I know they lost to the Texans when they just played them recently, but I think they'll probably make their corrections. They'll get that win. I think they have to play the Jags again. They should be able to get that win. I still feel pretty confident that the Titans are going to get to like 10, 11 wins at least and make it to the playoffs as division leaders. We'll see. Again, they are a little bit vulnerable. Their defense is still pretty damn good overall. So that should keep them in games, generally speaking. I mean, the Patriots are a tough matchup. So, I mean, they're a tough matchup, and they're, unfortunately, as much as we might hate to say it or admit to it, they are one of the better teams in the league right now, and certainly playing some of the best football of any team, some of the most complete football. So it was a tough opponent. I do think the Titans are going to rebound, and win a few more games, probably at least 2 or 3 more games out of their remaining, whatever it is, 5, and I still think they'll make the playoffs as division leaders. But again, there is some vulnerability there and some opportunity, especially on offense. And our defense has been playing well. So now let's get to these league standings, because it obviously does help to paint a fuller and clearer picture. Let's see. So total yards, the Patriots are currently 7th in the league with 4,264. The Titans are pretty good in that category too, at 9th with 4,250. Yards per game, the Patriots are 14th with 355.3. Tennessee is 16th with 354.2. Total passing, the Patriots are at 9th with 3,084 on the season. The Titans are 17th with 2,785. This is obviously where the Titans, lack a bit. They're not as good in the passing game, especially since, Julio Jones and A.J. Brown, they have been missing, a good amount of time this season. So that has affected their passing game. They're 17th. And per game average, the Patriots are currently 14th at 257. Titans are 23rd with 232.1. Obviously, though, they make up for it in the rushing game. When it comes to rushing, the Patriots are currently 9th with 1,384 on the season. 4th for the Titans with 1,689. The Titans are currently 5th in per game average with 140.8. The Patriots are 12th with 115.3. When it comes to points, the Patriots are currently 3rd in the league with 336 total. The Titans are 9th with 304, 7th after ties. Per game average, the Patriots are currently 7th with 28 per game, or 6th after ties. The Titans are 13th with 25.3. Or 9th after ties. And so, one of the things that I said earlier, just real quick in one of my previous videos, look, if the defense can continue to play dominant, and to the level that they have been, and I don't really, minus, barring significant injuries, knock on wood or whatever, I don't really see any expectation why they shouldn't. Especially because Brian Flores is trying to, continue to show that, hey, it's not him and his defense, and there's no reason to fire him, right? Playing for jobs, whatever. But if the offense can at least get to league average of about 24 points, then I still think that makes them certainly competitive and able to win a lot of these games. But as you can see with the way that these offenses currently are scoring, 24 points might not get it done. And that's part of the reason why it's a little tough, especially because both of these teams do have good defenses. So these games I'm not ready. The Patriots I'm definitely not ready to say is a win. I still think that's going to be a loss. I'm still leaning loss for the Titans, but we'll see how it plays out. We'll see if they get Julio Jones and A.J. Brown back by then. Those will be key guys that are out, and obviously keep an eye on their offensive linemen too, like Taylor Lewan or whatever. But these are not going to be easy games by any stretch of the imagination. And even when it comes down to third down offense, the Patriots are 5th at 45.4%, and the Titans are 14th with 40.9%. So they're converting on third down at a pretty high clip, both teams. Now, the Patriots have the better offense, but the Titans are still pretty good in a lot of these categories and still doing some good things. They still definitely do have some really good players, and so they're not going to be, it's not going to be a walk in the park by any stretch of the imagination. The Patriots, though, they have one of the better defenses currently in the league, and are tops in a lot of categories. So, and yards per game average, the Patriots are currently 4th at 316.7. The Titans are 16th at 354.1. Passing yards, the Patriots are 4th with 218.3 per game. The Titans are 26th at 274. The Patriots are currently 21st in rushing at 115.8. The Tennessee Titans are 7th at 97.8. So you can see they kind of flip-flop here. Patriots are really good at passing defense. Titans are really good at rushing defense. The opposite is true when it comes to their struggles. Tennessee struggles a bit in passing, and the Patriots struggle a bit in rushing. So some room for opportunities there. Obviously, we'll see if they're able to take advantage of it when we get to that point. And points per game, though, the Patriots are currently first in the league with only 15.8 points per game surrendered. So that's a tough thing to, that's going to be really tough, and one of the areas in which I think it's going to be hard for this Dolphins offense, even though Tua absolutely does elevate the offense as a whole and masks most of the problems from the offensive line. It's still a tough task. So we'll see when we get there. Obviously, that's still several weeks away. That's week 18. And of course, the Titans are week 17. By the way, both of these teams have played 12 games to this point. The Titans, though, on the other hand, have surrendered a few points, and 24.2. They're 22nd in the league or 13th after ties. But again, if we do manage to get to that 24 mark and they score 25, 26, well, obviously then, it's still not quite good enough, but there is certainly going to be some room for opportunity. And with the way that they've been losing key players, it definitely is a much more winnable game. I'm kind of on the fence with it right now. We'll see how the next few weeks play out. Takeaways, the Patriots are currently 3rd in the league or 2nd after ties with 25th on the season. The Titans are 16th with 14 or 8th after ties. Patriots are 1st in the league all by themselves with interceptions, having 19 on the season, which is pretty outrageous. So it's going to be a tough day. Unfortunately, I think we'll probably see Tua throw at least one interception in that game. Hopefully not. Obviously, hopefully not. But it's a tough defense, and they are 1st in the league in interceptions. The Titans are currently 16th with 9 or 9th after ties. When it comes to fumbles, the Patriots are 10th with 6 or 6th after ties. Titans are 17th with 5, and they're 7th after ties. When it comes to sacks, the Patriots are currently 6th with 30 on the season, 4th after ties. The Titans are 9th with 29. 5th after ties. When it comes to passes defense, both of these teams are really good in that department. The Patriots are 2nd with 67. They're right behind us. And then the Titans are 4th with 59, a couple spots behind us. And when it comes to third down defense, both of these teams are good there. The Patriots are better at 6th with 36.2%, but the Titans are 12th with 38.7%. So again, these games are going to be tough. I think Dolphins fans do really need to just take it. I'm about to make my, what does it take to get to the playoffs video here in a minute, but Dolphins fans do need to, you know, just take it 1 week at a time and see how things go. But here are the current offensive and defensive league standings for the Dolphins. With that, I am going to wrap this video up. Before I do, check out the Rave On Sports App, new fan-driven sports app for all your sports, whether it be basketball, baseball, football, college, whatever you like. And they are looking to enhance your game day experience with live play-by-play coverage, live chats with other fans and content creators like myself. Look for the links to that in the description box. And with that, I'm going to get out of here. I hope you guys appreciate my perspective. If you do, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you hit the bell if you want to get the alerts. Share my channel and videos with your friends and family. Leave your questions, comments, and concerns down in the comments section. Of course, as always, follow me on Twitter at DillonTartaro. And with that, I'm out. I'll see y'all soon. Fins up.